Play offense, you would be happy so far, certainly with the play of Dak Prescott. They look to continue their momentum from last week's thrilling win against the Giants as they get set to take on the Bears in Chicago in an interesting game Sunday. Troy Aikman's been watching Dak play. Here's what he thinks.
I have been impressed with Dak, certainly week one and what he was able to do. And then this last game, he just, he's always had good energy. He's always had good, body language and all that on the field. But in addition to just how well he's played, I just sense that there's a confidence about him in the way in which he's playing that I don't want to say I haven't seen it before, but I just feel like he's really dialed in.
It's an interesting, Dak Prescott's an interesting player. When you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, everything you do is so micro-scrutinized that I think sometimes we overlook the obvious. Like when he's healthy, he plays great and they win. When last seen healthy for an entire season, he was the runner-up for MVP. He's playing great again.
And arguably, this is the best weapons he's ever had. And I think the difference is he has an established running back that when he first got in this league, we had a lot of respect for in Denver that kind of fell out of favor. But,
Javonte Williams.
But also now he has, an answer when you can't, when you double CeeDee Lamb and take him away. Pickens showed up a little bit. He still has to mature. And but Ferguson, he's able to really move the ball. And this isn't a typical brand new head coach, right? Remember, Shotty was the coordinator, so he doesn't have to learn a new offense. So
right.
It's more nuanced than that. He can get into the minutia, the minute details of growing the package because he was in the same system last year.
So the biggest thing for me when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys is their run game. If you go back to 2024, 5 of the 7 teams that made the playoffs in the NFC, they were top 6 in rushing. You can't be one-dimensional in this league. You have to be balanced. The Dallas Cowboys right now currently, they're 11th in rushing. Javonte Williams has really altered things, but also the mindset coming into the season. Hey, we're not just going to throw the football around. We're going to establish the run. We want to push people around. Investing into that offensive line, that was their first-round draft pick this year in the 2025 NFL Draft. The run game is making things drastically different, in my opinion,
Correct.
for the Dallas Cowboys. Because Dak Prescott, from my eyes, he's going to play lights-out football. But now you add another dimension to that offense, and the offense of the Dallas Cowboys are scarier.
Yeah, I think it's George Pickens because when you're trying to build a team, it's hard to get 2 corners that are physical enough to match up with CeeDee Lamb. And now on the other side, George Pickens, who has 13 career touchdowns. Look at that catching radius. Well, that was CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
But in the red zone, again, he's already scored a touchdown, but he's created a lot of good matchups for Jake Ferguson as well. So when we talk about Dak playing well, like this play right here, they couldn't do that a year ago. That's why I think Pickens, more than Williams, has been so impactful.
Fascinating game. We've seen the stat all week long that the 2 players who've been the NFC Offensive Player of the Week have both played against the Bears. So does that mean that Dak Prescott's going to do that as well? There's another interesting storyline in this game. We've had a lot of revenge games, and here comes another one.
Last week it was all about Ben Johnson going back in Detroit. How about Matt Eberflus going into Chicago? Eberflus so unceremoniously fired, and really a punchline in Chicago this whole offseason and how much better Caleb's going to be now that he's finally got a real coaching staff. Eberflus has been the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys in 2 weeks, and they've been lit up in 2 games. I could see Matt Eberflus having a different kind of approach to this game, going up against his former team, and the owners in the front office that blamed him for last year's ineptitude and firing him. I will note this. In his presser, Brian Schottenheimer said there's nothing he would love more than to win that game and to give the game ball to Flus after the game. Not Dak, let's give it to the defensive coordinator who's going to have something ready for Caleb Williams.
That's motivation.
Win one for the Flus.
Yeah, we always have that type of protection. Like when you go there, whether it be the Harry Bowl or the TB Bowl or the Rex Bowl, we always had that. That's just the extra juice. That's the mind tricks that head coaches do. Don't fall for that.
But they want to look. You're going to make a little bold prediction later this morning about this game. And we're going to get a prediction on the total in a minute here. Without giving away the whole thing, are you expecting fireworks?
Historic fireworks. And neither side, are the old Rick Ryan Greeny, are the punters even going to be active? Like, this is just 4-down football up and down the field. The big X factor to me is Caleb Williams and what he does. And, we have a tape to show here.
What are you seeing? What have you seen in Caleb
when he holds the ball, Greeny, he really struggles. This is an unbelievable statistic. Since he's been in the NFL, this is from Hembo. They are 1-7 when he holds the ball for 3 seconds or longer. Now look, here's a play against Detroit. Not there, throw it away, run. He's holding the ball, and he makes really bad decisions later in the down. This ball should have been picked off. You can't hold the ball against NFL defenders for 8 seconds. Here's another play. Again, 1 in 7 when he averages 3 seconds or longer. Plays out there, Greedy. His fundamentals break down, and he makes terrible decisions.
Play game of what are the chances with the Chiefs and the Giants. I'll remind you, Kansas City has never won a road game at the New York Giants. Harry, what are the chances the Giants pull the upset on Sunday night?
I'm going to go 25% because my son loves quarters, Greeny. He's 6 years old.
Okay.
But the reason why I'm picking this team in this matchup also is because of their defensive line. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and also Abdul Carter. I do know when it comes to Steve Spagnuolo, he loves to send the blitz. Well, that blitz hasn't gotten home so much this season. And watching Malik Neighbors, no one on the Chiefs secondary can guard him. And Wan'Dale Robinson has been phenomenal as well, too.
We've spent a lot of time this week talking about what's wrong in Kansas City. And the offense, it looks unimaginative. It looks slow.
Old.
It looks old. Overwhelmingly, its best play has been Patrick Mahomes running around and trying to make something happen. He's been their leading rusher in both games. What is the read on Kansas City's offense, Peter?
That they have no spark and that everything you're saying is accurate. And even the most fervent Chiefs fan would say this is not the Chiefs of old. It's certainly not the Chiefs of the Tyreek era, but it isn't even the Chiefs of last year. And what's really alarming is none of those wide receivers have stepped up with Rice and Worthy out. So Juju and Thornton, all these names we were told are going to have to elevate their games, they haven't been able to do anything. But the more alarming part, the running game. Yes, the numbers look like they've been running the ball well. That's because Patrick Mahomes has been running the ball well. Nothing out of Isaiah Pacheco, nothing out of Kareem Hunt. If you don't have a running game and you don't have a passing game, it's going to be hard to compete with the Ravens and the Bills this season.
Right, but this week they have to compete with the Giants. And
Right.
Look, the Giants got lit up by Dak and company last week. Bart, you host the talk show in New York, so you know this team well. How do you see this matchup?
I mean, I'm waiting for this dominant Giants defense to finally step up and play that way. Like, they were able to get 3 sacks last week, but they've been giving up a bunch of points all season. This is a get-right game. You know, Russell Wilson.
For Kansas City?
No. For both teams, right?
Okay.
I mean, if this is over with, then we might be starting the Jackson Dart era, pretty soon, 2 more weeks before they get to the Saints.
Even though Russell threw for whatever it was, 450.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're going to continue losing, then what's the point?
Right.
The only way that Dayball saves his job is if Jackson Dart is a good football player.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the Kansas City Chiefs just remind me of our teams when we just went to so many games. Patrick Mahomes has probably played an entire extra season going to the AFC Championship every year. They look like a tired team. Now, you got to kick them while they're down, because when they get those reinforcements, they're going to be a much better football team.
The reinforcements meaning Xavier Worthy
Rice,
coming back healthy, Rashee Rice coming back.
Kick 'em while they down.
suspension. Will they be okay? Look, if there's anyone you trust to get this thing figured out, it's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes. Will the Chiefs be the Chiefs again by the time we get to the end of the season?
Absolutely. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes, and here's the solution, Greeny, is play action passing, because they do have a productive game when you look at 6 yards per rush, and only 17% of their offense right now is coming from play action passing. So if I'm Patrick Mahomes, Bart talked about their pass rush in terms of what the Giants could do. I would look to get him under center, use play action, because right now nothing else is working. That's a good foundation to work on.
Harry,
Look, you can't play action when you can't run the ball.
The inability to run the football and for guys to win one-on-one outside, we give the Chiefs a lot of grace, and rightfully so, because they played in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. But what my eyes are telling me is that their offensive identity is Patrick Mahomes. Go save us and make it work. When you can't run the football, when you can't win one-on-one on the outside, and then Patrick Mahomes is in playoff mode where he feels like he has to scramble and run over guys for positive yardage, that is very alarming to me, because by the time Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are both playing together, it might be too late for Kansas City. That's what I'm saying.
But Harry's great question is, can they hold serve and get there? They're going to beat the Giants. They're a much better football team. And they're going to get better. Xavier Worthy's shoulders going to get better. Rashee Rice is going to get better, get back. And when they do, they're going to come back to where they once were.
Let's put the picks up on the screen as we finish the conversation. We're not done. I just want everyone to see the whole room is taking Kansas City. Go ahead.
No. I'm taking the Giants.
Yeah.
We got to change it. A late flip. 25%. He's taking the Giants.
I mean, it's directly correlated, Mike, because what happens is when you don't have any threats on the outside, then I can load up the box, understanding that they have to set the table with Pacheco. So I can bring that 8th man in the box. Listen, Travis Kelce, whenever you hear these words from any aging player, I'm in the best shape of my life and I'm losing weight, that's the last cry, because you know his body is starting to fail him. And listen, it's starting to become the end maybe of a regime, and maybe the Chargers are ready to take over that division.
That was what I meant when I said the biggest problem the Chiefs have may not be one they can do anything about.
Right.
And that is, for the first time in a very long time, candidly, it's a decade, they may not be the best team in their division anymore. The Chargers may be that good. Okay, so everyone here likes Kansas City except Harry kind of
25%.
25%.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jack from Jaggy Sports here. Got my nephew Saajan in the house. We're going to talk some Week 3 NFL. Let's get right into it. Miami already took on Buffalo. We already know what happened there. Let's get right into tomorrow's games, which is Atlanta versus Carolina. Who you got?
Carolina, they're in a slump right now with the quarterback. It's going to go to Atlanta that game.
Okay, what about the Packers taking on the Cleveland Browns?
That's going to be the Packers' big story right now with Jordan Love. I think he's going to make it through there.
Texans taking on the Jaguars?
Texans, they're definitely going to win that game with their squad right now.
Bengals versus the Vikings.
2 backup quarterbacks in that game, but I think it's going to come down to the receivers, and I think the Vikings have that one.
Okay. Steelers taking on the Patriots.
Steelers on Patriots. I think this one's definitely going to go to the Steelers right now with Aaron Rodgers the way he's performing.
Eagles taking on the Rams.
That one's going to be going to the champs, but I know that's going to be one of the more interesting games on Sunday.
Okay. Buccaneers versus the Jets.
That one's going to be the Buccaneers right now with Baker Mayfield, how well he's performing.
Tennessee Titans versus the Indiana Colts.
So right now, the Colts' big story right now, Daniel Jones, how well he's been playing, that's one's going to go to the Colts.
Washington taking on Vegas.
That one's going to go to Vegas. It's because Jane Daniels isn't there right now. I don't think they can do it.
Denver taking on LA.
LA against Denver, that's going to be a very difficult one for the Series 1. Division rivalry, I think Bo Nix can do it there for the Broncos.
Seahawks taking on the Saints.
Seahawks last year played the Saints. They scored like 52 points in that one. That one's going to go to the Seahawks.
Cowboys taking on the Chicago Bears.
How good the kickers are right now for those teams, but I think for now, for Dallas has the better kicker and the better squad, that's going to go to the Cowboys.
Arizona taking on San Francisco.
Division rivalry, but right now San Francisco has a big improvement from last season. That one's San Francisco.
The Giants taking on KC.
I mean, KC right now, first time 0-2 in the Mahomes era. I'm going to say they go 1-2 instead.
And the Monday night main event is the Detroit Lions taking on the Baltimore Ravens.
That one's going to be a very difficult one, but I think Baltimore is going to come up there winning just very slightly, though, against the Lions.
Okay. So now that we have the picks, I want to talk about the 3 hottest topics, in your opinion, in the NFL as of right now.
Well, as of right now, there's some big things right now. Joe Burrow, of course, had surgery, and he's going to be out for 3 months with a toe injury. I feel for the Bengals, this happened to them when he broke his wrist, and their season, it started to go down a bit. It looked like they were going to make it to the playoffs. They finished with a winning record, despite finishing at the bottom of the division, but did not sneak into the playoffs. That's going to be a very difficult one for them, being able to do that. They have the Vikings to start it off, but the Vikings also don't have their starting quarterback, but that's going to change for next week. But for the Bengals, right now, this doesn't look great for them. Jake Browning, of course, does have experience from that season that Joe Burrow did break his wrist. They just need to hope that he can keep that up.
So in your opinion, he's out for 3 months, right?
Yeah.
That'll take him up to like sometime at the end of December, early January. We all know the playoffs
Are basically right there.
Okay, so in your professional opinion, does the Cincinnati Bengals make the playoffs? Yes or no?
No, because
That's it.
Jake Browning, he had less time to work with there, and Joe Burrow had more time to work with.
Okay. So second topic in the NFL as of right now, which is?
The Miami Dolphins going 0-3.
You mentioned that they had a players-only meeting.
They had a players-only meeting in week 2. That usually happens in the middle of the season when they're just starting to discuss if they're going to fire their head coach. And the way their season going now, 0-3, I know it's the Bills. It was nice only being a 10-point difference, but having a players-only meeting in week 2 is almost unheard of. And I feel this is the start of the end for Mike McDaniel.
Okay. Now, third topic, I think we all know what this is going to be, but I want to ask you and then tell the viewers, what's the third hottest topic right now?
KC.
KC. Do they have a win yet?
No.
Do you feel that they could? Oh, you just mentioned the Giants versus KC.
Yeah, I think they're gonna win that game. It usually isn't a struggle, but they have a couple of struggles right now. Their top 2 wide receivers. Of course, everybody knows about Rashee Rice being out on suspension. He'll be back in week 7 after his 6 weeks.
That's a long time.
That is a long time. I think it could be longer though. But then Xavier Worthy is also out with a shoulder injury, I believe it was. And with your top 2 receivers out, for most teams, that's pretty big unless you have a squad that has a pretty dominant third receiver. But for most squads, maybe even all squads, that is a massive difference. And for a team like KC, who's a wide receiver dominant team, that is going to be pretty big for them to suffer from that until both wide receivers do come back.
Okay. So top 3 quarterbacks as of right now. The performances that we've seen in the last 3 weeks, as of right now, the number 1 guy is
Josh Allen. I don't think there's any question about Josh Allen there.
Not a chance.
We don't even need to talk much about it. Josh Allen has just been the most dominant quarterback in the league, maybe for like the past 2 years. Some people were saying that Lamar should have won it, but then the week 1 performance showed why Josh really was the one
from
to
the
win
comeback,
it,
right?
From the comeback there. And then for the second quarterback, this is just all about performance, not hot quarterbacks. We're talking about hot quarterbacks with performance. That goes to Jordan Love with the 2-0 start. Of course, the shocker in week 2 Thursday Night Football, which I had the Commanders winning. I didn't think Jordan Love was going to play that good. He did play that good. Of course, there was the week 1 performance against the Lions. I always feel like the Lions lose week 1 and then just get hotter through the season.
You mentioned that, right? It takes them a little bit of time.
It takes a little bit of time for them. But for the Packers still being able to do it that well, I feel like he's a really dominant quarterback right now. Then I don't really know for the last quarterback, but it's also Jalen Hurts right now. The performance that he's been doing, how well he's been playing from last season and this season, he's performing really well, and I feel like his team's also a really big part of it.
Can't knock out the champ.
Can't knock out the champ right now.
Okay, so you have that. You had the quarterbacks. So before we get into who your pick is for the, I guess you could say, dark horse, who do you think is going to come out like and be in the Super Bowl as of right now?
Who do I think is going to be in the Super Bowl as of right now? Well, I think the Lions are going to make it for the NFC, but there's no actual. But I said like it's the week 1 struggles, but you never really know if it's actually a season struggle. And if it's just week 1 struggling right now, or if it's going to go through the season, I don't think I can put the Lions there yet. But
we got to see, right?
For the AFC, I think it's going to be the Bills. Right now, there is just not a team to stop the Bills.
So that is the perfect segue into my next question for you. So you had the number 1 pick for the quarterback for Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen and the Bills have come up short every single. They're more of a regular season team, right? They've come up short in every single playoffs in the last 3 years. But you were mentioning something earlier. KC is off to a 0-2 start with Reed being suspended till week 7, right?
Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice. Week 7, right? He's going to be suspended. Do you see the Buffalo Bills getting past anyone, like against KC?
Well, think about it. Through all the years that Buffalo's been there, who's really been the team that has just stopped Buffalo?
KC.
And who's right now, for the first time in a quarterback's era, go 0-2?
KC.
Do you think that team can stop them from going that for the first time in the era?
I mean, that's the thing here, right? Like, Buffalo Bills are poised to, as of right now, if you take KC out of the picture, let's just say KC was totally out of the picture. Let's just say hypothetically, Patrick Mahomes, had a season-ending injury, God forbid, I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying if hypothetically he had that or something like that, or one of his teams, he was out of the playoff picture. KC was out of the playoff picture, right? Who do you think would come out to the Super Bowl?
Bills.
There
There's
you
no
go.
one to stop them if
Right?
they go out.
So that being said, if KC is 0-2 and they play horrible and they don't even make the playoffs, who do you have coming out of the the Super Bowl?
Bills. There's no one else to stop them.
Okay, so do you see the Bills winning the Super Bowl?
Yes, I see the Josh Allen.
I know it's early to say that right now.
Really early to say that, but if the Chiefs can't make it to the playoffs, or another thing for the Patrick Mahomes era, every time he started, he's made it to the AFC Championship game. Every year he started, he's made it to the AFC Championship game. But then if he's not there to stop the Buffalo Bills, the Bengals have also stopped them a couple times, but right now the Bengals, well, that's a struggle right now.
I mean, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs. So the Chiefs might not make the championship game for the first time in the Mahomes era. There really is no one to stop the Bills.
No, there's not. Next week, let's talk about week 4, and I want to talk about the underachieving teams right now, the ones that are not performing well, right? We're talking about Miami. We're talking about Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about
New York.
New York. We're going to talk about the I don't know how the Lions are going to do in the next week, but we'll see. But thanks for coming on board. Tune in next time. Jag from Jaggy Sports and Saajan, my nephew.